Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and we are back with yet another article from our friend Mr. Evan Wanish over at BucsNation.com talking about the three defensive free agents the Buccaneers could target in this upcoming offseason. Now, of course, I won't go through the entire article. I suggest you guys go check that out over at BucsNation.com, but I will be taking a look at the three names that Evan has selected and giving my thoughts and opinions on the players and what they could potentially be for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into it. The first player is defensive lineman Javon Kinlaw. We take a look, 6'5", 319 pounds, just played in the Super Bowl in a losing effort to the Kansas City Chiefs, was a first-round pick in the 2020 NFL draft. So the same draft as Tristan Wirfs, by the way. This was actually the player, if people will remember, this is the player that some people, or I guess I wouldn't even say some, but a lot of people wanted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to select. Did not end up happening. The Buccaneers actually traded up one pick with the San Francisco 49ers to get Tristan Wirfs. A lot of people were very critical of that move at the time, but I think it's safe to say that it did end up pretty well for the Buccaneers. But Javon Kinlaw is, I believe, slated to, yes, I would say he is slated to be a free agent, obviously, because he is on this list. But I want to see, this must mean that they did not pick up his fifth-year option whenever it was available. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did do so with Tristan Wirfs, but it looks like that was not the case here with Kinlaw. Yes, it looks like, they declined his option on April 29th, 2023. His fifth-year option of $10.4 million was declined. And that's pretty interesting because at 26 years old, you're getting a really interesting player in Kinlaw that I feel like hasn't reached his potential yet. The biggest thing with Kinlaw looks like just a lack of consistency in terms of playing. He played in 14 games, started 12 in his rookie season. He had one interception for a touchdown, which is awesome. 4 passes defended, 1.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits. You then go to the next couple of years, it's tough. 10 games played, 10 games started in 2 years. He only notched, what is this in terms of combined tackles? 12 combined tackles, no sacks, no other statistics to talk about besides 1 quarterback hit. That's tough. That's a tough couple of years there for Kinlaw. You then take a look at 2023. Things did get better. He did end up playing in every single game that year, starting 6 games, did have 3.5 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. So this most recent year was the best year of Kinlaw's career so far up to this point. I want to see what his market value is. It's coming in at $5.4 million according to Spot Rack. I would say this. Right now as it stands, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have Logan Hall, you have Vita Vea, and you have Kalijah Kancey. To bring in a guy like Javon Kinlaw at $5.4 million, in my opinion, is worth the, I guess I have to use the word risk. It is worth the chance, I guess, so to speak. The reason I say that is because, again, a former first-round draft pick, the guy should have all of the tools. Maybe he looks better in a Todd Bowles style of defense versus what they were running over there with Robert Saleh. And then eventually, who was the defensive coordinator after that? DeMeco Ryans was the DC for a little bit, for a couple of years, and then he went over to the Texans, and then Steve Wilkes was the DC. So it is a low-risk, high-reward type of signing, I believe. And I do see where Evan is coming from. Out of the names that are listed on there, this is the guy who I would say would probably have the least amount of, immediate impact in terms of seeing what he has done recently in his career, but he has still very good upside, in my opinion, only at the age of 26 years old. Would he be? He'd be just about to turn 27 before the start of the season for the Bucs. So it's something to consider for sure. I don't hate it. For $5.4 million, bring him in as a rotational type of guy, and maybe he would excel. Maybe he would. But I do also want to see if we can see what the heck was going on with his injuries. If we can see what's going on with his game logs. I want to see if he sustained a lot of injuries. It looks like he was inactive and then did not play, inactive, did not play. So it looks like the past couple of years were injuries. That seems like the history of what it was there. So that's obviously something to consider as well. If he does have he does have an injury history, that is not a great thing. And that's going to be something to consider as well, which is another reason why his price tag is probably at around $5.4 million. So if he can stay healthy and stay active for the Bucs, could be a very solid rotational defensive lineman with a lot of room for more whenever you pair him up with guys like Vita Vea and with Kalijah Kancey. Next is outside linebacker Josh Uche. Comes into the fold here. 6'3", 240 pounds, a former New England Patriot, was a second-round pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. And Josh Uche is an interesting name. He had a breakout year in his third year. Obviously, he had 11.5 sacks and 14 quarterback hits, 27 combined tackles. Didn't start a single game for New England in that 2022 season. And then things took a big tail off in 2023. Started 2 games, played in 15, only had 3 sacks on the year and 6 quarterback hits. I want to go to the game logs to see what has been going on. So Josh Uche was on the injured reserve in his first year. That's notable, and that is certainly worth mentioning. Similar things, he had some injury issues in his second year. In his third year, he missed a couple of games. In his fourth year, he missed a couple of games. So another situation where the guy has had some injury concerns, for sure, and his defensive snap numbers have fallen off drastically from year to year. If I can take a look at what his snap counter is, I do want to go ahead and see what's going on with that, because that is going to be certainly a notable thing to talk about as well. So let's take a look at the defensive snaps to see where Josh Uche has been defensively. So defensively, Josh Uche played in 29% of defensive snaps this year for the New England Patriots. That is pretty low on the list, all things considered. I mean, J.C. Jackson played more, and my goodness, the guy wasn't even on the Patriots to start off the year. So that kind of tells you some stuff that you need to know. Whenever you take a look at 2022, Josh Uche was playing in only 33%. So, I mean, it was just hyper efficiency with Josh Uche, it seems like. 33% of snaps on defense, the guy was still going out there and making a lot of plays. I do wonder if he does get more of an opportunity, would you be able to see him excel? Would you be able to see him put up those hyper efficient numbers that he got in 2022 in the form of 11.5 sacks? I don't know. It is something to consider. It is also notable, however, though, that Bill Belichick, a defensive-minded guy who took this guy in the second round, couldn't really fully tap into the potential of Josh Uche. Could you expect Todd Bowles to do a similar thing? It's worth talking about. It really is. But he's another Florida guy, right? Miami, Florida. Went to CC High School in Florida as well. Went to Michigan at college. This, again, would be something that I would say would be a, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but a low risk, high reward type of signing. Right? Because I don't believe Josh Uche is going to cost a lot. His market value is $8.3 million, which is more than what I thought it was going to be. But at the age of 25 years old, maybe it's something you consider. Again, if you can use him more and he reaches that potential of 11.5 sacks, you get a guy at 26 years old that looks like an absolute steal, an absolute bargain. But it is a bit of a risk. Just like in the case of Javon Kinlaw, there is some risk there. You have to assume, or you're hoping that something like that is going to work out. He's expected to get a very similar contract to Anthony Nelson, so maybe he would have a similar role to like an Anthony Nelson. I don't know, but Josh Uche is the second name. Again, a guy with potential, but not a guy that has. It'd be a value signing, right? In the case of Javon Kinlaw as well, to where you hope for more moving forward. The final name is Jordan Whitehead coming in. It is a reunion of sorts. Well, potential reunion. Obviously, nothing is happening, but look, I don't have to say you guys how good Jordan Whitehead is, but I'm going to do so anyway. Former 4th-round pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 2018 NFL Draft. 5'10", 198 pounds. Played 4 years with Tampa Bay. did some great stuff in his 4 years, and still stayed just as good with the New York Jets. You take a look at his 2 years in 2022 and in 2023. He had more interceptions by one than what he did in 4 years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In his time with the Jets, he had 123 123 solo tackles, a half sack, 6 interceptions, 17 passes defended. This would be a guy where this is an immediate impact. And the Bucs need a starting safety opposite of Mr. Antoine Winfield Jr. if we are to assume that he is going to come back. There isn't any indication as to what his contract may be. He was on a 1-year, little over $5 million deal. You expect him to probably make a little bit more than that. Let's say you could bring him in on a 2-year, $7 million per year deal, maybe even around $8 million. It's like 7.5 maybe. I would be all for it. The combination of Jordan Whitehead and Antoine Winfield Jr. was great whenever it was there, and you have a chance to bring that back. And I think the Buccaneers should absolutely explore that possibility and run it back, essentially. Obviously, this is a Jason Light draft pick who he probably didn't want to see leave the building too badly. Now the Buccaneers have more cap space and the chance to bring him back. He's going to be 27 years old by the start of the season, and he's still got some good years left in him. I think you'd sign him to a 3-year deal, not really bat an eye at that, give him around $7 million a year. Would you be paying a lot for your 2 safeties? Yes, but this would be a good value signing, in my opinion, to add to that safety room, to add, yet again, to bolster the Buccaneers defense. I think that this would be the most immediate impact signing out of the trio in terms of starting capabilities. I think Josh Uche, you view him as a rotational guy right now with room for more. Same thing with Javon Kinlaw. You can pen in Jordan Whitehead as a starting safety, whereas the other guys, you probably have him in pencil as maybe a 1, maybe a 2. But Jordan Whitehead's probably the best guy out of the bunch, in my opinion. But all 3 names are interesting. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear them down in the comments section below. What do you think about Javon Kinlaw? What do you think about Josh Uche? What do you think about Jordan Whitehead? Which guys would you want? Which guys would you not want? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I'd love to hear them. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. And as always, guys, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.